Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the last week of the ladder for the Jets of Time ladder tournament. This is the final ladder race before we have the finals. Finals are scheduled for Thursday of this week. Time, I think, still to be determined. But we are going to have one last great race between Akuhesh, Azurkale, and Kayu Ketsuki to finalize the ladder placements, figure out which people are going to be making that final tournament. My name's Corinth. I'll be your commentator tonight. Azurkale is with me tonight, but he's following up on the tracking to help keep me and everyone else honest about what people have actually picked up. And a big shout out to Mion for helping doing the restream tonight. For those who may be new to Jets of Time, this is an open world Chrono Trigger randomizer. All the key items and characters have been scattered across the world. You'll start with 2 characters. In 1000 AD, you'll be given access to the Epoch and set on your way to go find a method of making it to one of our 3 go modes, which would be collecting the Ruby Knife, the Dreamstone, and the Gate Key, which will allow you to go through the Ocean Palace and fight Lavos. Both parts of the Masamune Frog, where you can go through Magus's Castle and eventually to Ocean Palace and to fight Lavos. Or you can get the Pendant, the Chrono Trigger, and the Clone, and you'll go climb Death Peak, go into Black Omen, and fight Zeal 2 for your final boss. One of those 3 modes is how we're going to be making our way up. Maybe multiple modes, because being a randomizer, you could have people split off in different directions, find different go modes, and we always kind of hope there's a little bit of chaos to make the night good. So if everyone is ready out in chat world, we are going to get started here very shortly and have send our runners
This Tiny
live
Taco's Big
and
Box is
running.
perfect to share. Jinx! Tiny Taco's Big Box! Triceratops! Get out of my head!
My new $5 Tiny Tacos Big Box with 3 delicious dipping sauces.
This Tiny Taco's
Live
Big
and
Box is
running.
perfect to share.
And it may be that
Jinx.
my stream overlay has
Tiny Taco's
locked
Big
up,
Box!
and I can't actually see if the
Triceratops!
run started or not.
Get out of my head!
My new $5 Tiny Tacos Big Box with 3 delicious dipping sauces.
This Tiny
Live
Taco's Big
and
Box is
running.
perfect to share.
And it may be that
Jinx.
my stream overlay has
Tiny Taco's
locked
Big
up,
Box!
and I can't actually see if the
Triceratops!
run started or not.
Get out of my head!
My new $5 Tiny Tacos Big Box with 3 delicious dipping sauces.
This Tiny
Live
Taco's Big
and
Box
if
is
there is someone out
perfect to
there in
share.
chat and can let me know if the run actually did start. I'm not sure if my overlay hasn't started or if Min is still waiting to actually hit the button. All right, we do see it is started now. So with that going, it looks like we are starting with Frog and Magus as our starting party. This is one of the fan favorite starts, just because you kind of get a buddy cop adventure going on with Frog and his most hated rival slash enemy slash tormentor dragging him along as they're going to go and try and save the world. Also, Magus is just a really strong character. He's going to unlock AoE magic fairly early. Frog can be really good if you find things like the Grand Leon, which is the upgraded Masamune, or the Hero Medal, where you get a whole bunch of bonuses. But we do see most everyone going shopping. And I am having Discord issues where the stream is locking up, so I'm going to be commentating off of the stream, which means I will be slightly delayed from everyone else, unfortunately. But we do see, looks like at least, no, I was going to say we had someone get ready to head into the desert, but no, we still just see more shopping. Kai Ketsuki heading into the Dinodora Mountains. So this is a newer route that sometimes takes some early fights here to get early techs, but you also get access to a couple of chests. We saw him pick up a Pearl Edge, so Frog already has a great weapon, and with that weapon, he is going to take this first fight and pick up some early tech points. I don't know if you got the chance to look at the tech menu to see what techs Frog would learn. Unfortunately, Magus cannot learn his first tech until you've gotten 50 tech points. So Magus, even though he'll get good techs, won't get techs for a while. Azure Kale also going to go get some levels in Guardian Forest, while Akuhash has headed to the Carpenter and has gotten a Robo's Ribbon. The Robo's Ribbon is good for powering up Robo, who we don't have yet, but if we get him, he gets the effects of Sun Specs and Prism, a Prism Helm, gets an auto barrier, and you get Sight Scope. So you can see HP of some monsters. And with the early grinding done, Azurkel has gone to the other side of Guardian Forest. This will allow him to grab an extra power tab. Akuhesh is now heading into Dinodora Mountains himself, so he's going to find that Pearl Edge. The power tabs are good, and it looks like Kaiketsuki went into the snail stop, and based on his gold, I'm going to say he bought whatever item it was, but I did not see the item that was purchased. The snail stop sales a key item for 9,900 gold, and if it's something that's really useful, you'll see people pick it up early. That's typically something like a gate key or a pendant. And if it's something terrible like the Sunstone, you'll just leave it there and remember that it's there and come back later. Speaking of the Sunstone, Azurkale has gone into the Sun Keep, where you would normally leave the Sunstone just to go pick up a power tab. Power tabs have been buffed in the randomizer and give +2, +3, or +4 strength as opposed to Vanilla's +1. So getting extra power tabs, particularly on a character like Frog or Ayla or Chrono, is going to be a very big help because that's just going to kind of push your damage into the stratosphere. Someone have the power change titles. It says we can fix that. Momentarily. I can fix that in a bit once we hit a small break. Maybe once, if everyone goes to the cathedral at the same time, we can take the time while they're doing the cathedral fight to get that changed. But right now we do have Akuhesh is gone to go rest. Azurkale is picking up his Robo Ribbon. And looks like the Dreamstone was what was for sale at the snail stop because Kaiketsuki has that marked off. And has gone to Chrono's house to get a rest before going and doing the cathedral fight. The all-important question is, does he pet the cat? No, Kaiketsuki ignores the cat. Kaiketsuki forfeits the race. And it's now a two-person race between Akuhesh and Azurkale. You must pet the cat. That is very important. Akuhesh is first to head into the cathedral. This first fight against the four Nagaets, kind of annoying. They each have 60 HP and have a tendency to slow your characters. But Magus comes equipped with his very own super powerful amulet and is immune to slow because of it. So the fight becomes much simpler. And at the conclusion of this fight, you get a third character guaranteed. Normally, this is where you would find Frog and Vanilla. Here, it will be someone. All right, we do see everyone else getting into the cathedral now, or Zura's into the cathedral. Kaiketsuki's got to pick up the power tabs in Guardian Forest. Akahesh is going to get our third character, and the third character is Ayla. So there's who's getting all of our power tabs today. Ayla all pairs with almost every team, and thus is found, if you find her, is found in almost every party. So I expect we will see Ayla be force-fed power tabs for the rest of the game, and in return, she will gladly punch everything to death until she discovers the power to summon dinosaurs through time with Dino Tail, and we'll get to see that in action fairly soon. And then she'll summon dinosaurs and kick things repeatedly. So now all three runners are in the cathedral. There is some question as to whether or not all three runners will complete the cathedral. Completing the cathedral will not give you a key item, but it does give you access to a fourth character as you go rescue Princess Nadia from the castle in 600 AD, except in this case it may or may not actually be Princess Nadia or Marl. It could be any of the unfound characters. But if you have a team that you like and you don't feel like you want a fourth character, or you just want to take a gamble and try to save a few minutes, you can choose to come in here, grab a few items, and then skip the cathedral completely, because there is no chance of the cathedral itself blocking you from completing the game. There is the odd chance that either Robo or Marl is the character in the 680 castle, and if their personal quest, which is either the Desert for Robo or the Prism Shard quest for Marl, if those have key items behind it, you might have to come back and complete the cathedral at some later date. And it looks like Azurkael has found a Berserker and is going with Berserker Ayla strats. Basically, you're forfeiting the ability for Ayla to do anything else. In return, she goes really, really fast and hits things really, really hard. Does help with fixing some early strategies where you're not going to do anything other than straight up auto attack with her, but is risky if you need someone for healing, because that's a character who will auto attack and might trigger a counter or just isn't available to toss out a mid tonic. So losing that is somewhat painful later on, but certainly early game when all you can do is auto attack, having a Berserker on Ayla or anyone else who can actually hit with a dart is not a bad thing. It does look like all three runners are doing a full clear of the cathedral. It's not too surprising. Most runners are not a fan of Frog because he only gets really powerful in a very specific situation where you have to find the Grand Leon, you have to find the Hero Medal, and typically that also means you're stuck going through Magus's Castle, and people are kind of tired of going through Magus's Castle all the time. So a lot of times you'll see if he's one of your first three characters, people go get the fourth one in the hopes that they get to eliminate him. And honestly, Frog probably pairs worst with any other singular character because he's designed in the vanilla game as an early game character, which is why he pairs so well with Chrono, and you unlock like all three of their dual techs by almost by the time you finish this dungeon. But Frog Ayla is powerful. You do get drop kick. Frog Marl, you can sometimes get some interesting things. Just saw that Ayla is a couple of tech points away from unlocking triple kick. So Azure Kale turns around and says, "Now I'm taking another fight. I want triple kick for this battle." Akuhesh, I don't think noticed that and has gone into this first boss without having triple kick available. This is boss randomizer, so our bosses are random, and we have Atropos as the first boss. A potentially dangerous boss. She has a lot of AoE attacks because she was coded to only fight Robo, and so all of her attacks were simply coded to hit the entire party because the entire party was supposed to be one person. So she'll auto attack someone, like with a Robo Tackle, and it will actually hit all three characters even though they're not standing near each other. But on the plus side, she is it is a timed fight. If for some reason you can't kill her fast, she'll eventually self-destruct and blow up, and you win the fight anyway. However, being in an early game spot, the damage is low, or her HP is low, and when you beat her, she still blows up, almost takes out the entire party. And Akuhesh has completed it. We see Dark Bomb learned by Magus, Frog has learned Cure 2, Ayla's going to learn Triple Kick. Meanwhile, Azure Kale has enough mana for exactly one Triple Kick, which may or may not be enough to one-shot Atropos. We see the Triple Kick go off for 600 damage. That's almost a one-hit kill. A Slurp Cut might be enough. But no, Frog has dropped a Ether, so we're going to get another Triple Kick out of Ayla here in just a moment. And yes, first-time viewer, Steel G, welcome. Only 10 minutes in, you're just in time to watch an awesome randomizer as Akuhesh makes his way into the 680 castle and will be finding our fourth character. I do see Kai Katsuki also grinded for the Triple Kick and is making that kick. And we have found Robo in the castle. So with Robo in hand, we can attempt the desert quest. We've got some good, strong, powerful physical attackers, which make that quest bearable. If Frog learns Water 2 as his third tech, it becomes simple. And I just saw the item drop from Atropos is a Prism Helm, so people are going to be walking around with a Prism Helm the entire game. That's wonderful. And all three runners have made their way past the Atropos fight in the Yakra spot. Magus getting ready to learn Magic Wall. No good AoE magic yet in the party. Looks like Robo can learn Area Bomb soon, which is limited AoE. And we'll see who all decides they want to swap out Robo for Frog. Robo and Frog serve a very similar role in their character builds. They're both quasi-physical fighters who also happen to learn AoE heals eventually. Robo doesn't have to unlock magic, though, and technically has access to slightly stronger techs late game. But in return, Robo is slow as molasses. Starts with the lowest speed stat of any character and basically begs for you to give him speed tabs the entire game. And with that in place, Akash has gone down into the basement. This is to trigger the Xenon Bridge fight. You talk to the guard on the bridge, come back, talk to the chef, who's his brother. Typically, you save before you do this. I saw Azure step out to save. I imagine Akuhesh also stepped out and saved. In this case, it doesn't matter because the item you get for defeating the boss here is the pendant. Because you'll get the pendant now, but you don't actually get to keep the pendant unless you clear the full bridge. And we might have a difficult boss out here on the bridge because this is how little I've gotten to pay attention to the ladder. I'm fairly certain the ladder is using the dual boss randomizer. And it looks like Kaiketsuki is healing up before doing the Zenin bridge check. This is where you go talk to the guard to start it. A trick for new runners. If you do this quest, I just saw a charm on Ozzy, got silver earrings, that's nice. Attack Ozzy 3 times, the fight will finish. I was going to say, a trick for new viewers is that if you come and start the Zenin Bridge quest, after you talk to the chef, it does the little cutscene where it automatically sends you to the bridge. It automatically heals you to full HP and MP. You don't have to use healing items after completing the cathedral because you get a free auto heal since it's a forced fight transfer. So, no need to spend ethers, no need to spend a shelter, just go talk to the chef. And if you do go onto the bridge as part of the quest, you will be automatically healed. And if you get out there and decide, no, it's not worth the item because it was a moonstone or something and you reset, well, then you have to heal, but you didn't heal only to receive a free heal. Alright, we see Magus learn Magic Wall. Might be important if this boss is someone difficult. The way the boss randomizer works, I did see we are using the double target boss randomizers. Single target bosses are randomized within single target bosses. Multi-target bosses are randomized within each other as well. So Zombor, in this case, has become one of the mutants. And it is Giga Mutant. Giga Mutant is not absolutely terrible. If you have enough MP restoratives, this fight is doable. The downside to this fight is that Giga Mutant will drain your MP every time you hit it with magic. Actually, anytime I think you hit the hit at all, it drains your MP. But hitting it with not magic does 0 damage, so you're hitting it with magic. Of course, if you can only damage it with magic and he drains your magic, and right now all we have access to is Dark Bomb, which is relatively mana cheap, and Robo Shock, which is stupidly expensive. You might run into issues if you did not stock up on ethers early on. We do see Kai Katsuki's also gone for the Zenin Bridge play. Well, Azurkale has decided to abort out. May go tackle the fight later. Not sure if Azur saw that it was the pendant and still chose to reset, or just decided, I don't want to risk it, because there are very few single or dual target bosses that can show up on Zenin Bridge that are easy to kill, and instead has gone into Hecarim Cave to abuse the fact that Magus is going to learn like 6 techs through the tech doubling bug. Azurkale says he saw Pendant and decided to reset. That's interesting, but Akuhesh has defeated Giga Mutant, and thus is going to be able to make his way to the future. In a moment, right now he's turning in the Nageta Bromide that all 3 runners picked up in the Cathedral. Going to give them access to a Power Tab, a Speed Tab, and a Magic Tab, so basically free stat boost. The Speed Tab being the most important part of this. Speed is the most important stat because you want at least one character with 15 speed. Ideally, you get lots of speed tabs from somewhere, and everyone is 15 speed. But by going into Hecarim's Cave first, Azur is able to take advantage of a bug in Chrono Trigger that I call the tech doubling bug. Anytime a character learns a tech, they receive the tech points they just received again. So, as an example, if Magus goes into a fight, and the fight gives 20 tech points, and by getting those 20 tech points, he learns a new tech, in this case Magic Wall is first, he will then receive 20 tech points again, which is typically half the tech points needed to get to the next tech. Well, it turns out in the Hecarim's Cave, there are enough enemies who give 20 and 25 tech points that you can chain these double techs back to back to back to back, and Magus and I think Robo are both capable of chain learning techs to get 5 techs learned straight off the bat. The same is also true of Chrono, Marl, Luca, and not Frog. Frog has some weird things in him, but Chrono, Marl, Luca can do the same if, when you go in here, you have already unlocked magic somehow. So with that, Pendant Akrahash has gone into the prison sequence where Magus will break out of prison. Basically, by doing this, somehow in 1000 AD, Magus turns himself in. They throw him in jail, despite the fact that 400 years prior, Magus almost ruined the entire kingdom. Somehow that doesn't warrant a kill on sight order. Instead, Magus gets thrown in prison and then, of course, promptly breaks out and is going to make a fool of all the guards and make his way to the future. Meanwhile, Azur Kale is taking on one of the golems in Hecarim's spot. The golems will mimic whatever attacks you use against it. So if you attack with a physical attack, it counters with a physical attack. If you attack with ice, eventually it will counter with an ice attack. But if you know the right techs, you can trick it into doing single target only attacks, which makes it a relatively free fight. So we will see a bit of divergence because Azur is going to find something that both Akrahash and Kaiketsuki will not find. Courtesy of Luca's father, who says, I'm going to give you something for my daughter who you don't know or have not found and no one knows exists. And instead, we find the Thomas Pop, which will unlock the Giant's Claw quest, which has access to a lot of power tabs. It's not typically something you see people run early, but having access to 5 or 6 power tabs, particularly if they're the +3 or +4 power tabs, can basically result in Ayla doubling her damage early game. Alright, Azur is going to now be tasked with petting the cat, and I couldn't tell if he actually pet the cat or not. I hope that Azur pet the cat. Azur totally pet the cat. Good. Petting the cat, like I said, that's the most important thing. Alright, so now Azur is headed into the desert. He has unlocked Ice 2 with Magus. So basically every fight here is a free fight. Except for the final boss, but the final boss becomes ridiculously easy because you can lower his defense with ice. So we'll be seeing another item for Azur shortly, while Akuhesh is now fighting the Dragon Tank. The game developers wanted to make the Dragon Tank a difficult fight. And they said, well, you're going to be here with Chrono and Luca, so we're going to make it immune to lightning and fire magic. Sounds terrible. But we brought Magus. Magus knows Shadow Magic, and Dragon Tank is not immune to Shadow Magic, so Dark Bomb hits all 3 parts and can basically two-shot the entire tank and kind of make a mockery of this grand defense that the castle has provided for anyone who dare escapes the prison. Does look like Kai Katsuki is possibly heading to Free Fits. Hashtag Free Fits. The drug dealer who manages to give you 10 mid-ethers if you go find him after you free him from prison and if Chrono's in your party. Technically, it's not worth it if you don't have Chrono. Unless you're just feeling altruistic, in which case, I mean, I guess you free Fritz, good for you. You do get a few extra chests, but looks like there was the mid ether. Some of Fitz's illegal drugs were in the back of the prison. So all the evidence was sitting in the prison along with him as he was waiting to be executed. And Kai Kensuke was trying to charm the guards. I wasn't paying enough attention. Did the guards actually have something worth charming? They're dropping full ethers, so he might be able to charm full ethers off of the guards. And Akahash has made it into the future, and because we have the pendant, you can access all the secret sealed doors, and a Kaiser arm was sitting in the back of the first room, so all of a sudden Robo's got a real weapon. You've got a Robo ribbon, so he's got free speed and free sunspec, so Robo's going to hit like a truck, both metaphorically and almost literally. Nothing too great in the second room, and I did not pay attention to Azur's looting of the desert to see if there was any awesome items. It is a higher level loot area, so you can get some good items there. But really what Azur's there in the desert for is to kill the Ret Knight and go save Fiona's Forest, have Robo sit through time, cause a time paradox, and get something cool out of it. Akavesh now also going into the desert, despite having access to the future and a couple of future quest areas, and technically having access to another character. There is a character sitting in Protodome that you can go get for free. At this point, you're praying that you find Luca somewhere. Because we want Luca and her super awesome fire techs. We want Flare. It does look like Akahash is going to be taking the time to go ahead and farm up, get a few extra levels, a few extra tech points. The nice thing about this particular team is that no one on this team requires magic to be unlocked to learn all of their techs. Did see a silver stud that drops off of Ret Knight and Uzi Punch run by Robo. So that's going to be really nice. More so for Akahash because he's going to have the Robo Ribbon and a Kaiser arm. So Uzi Punch is going to start hitting fairly well. But I will see what the rest of the loot looks like. Nothing great in Fiona's house. Got vest. We've got an Aeon suit. A Rainbow Helm is nice. That's one of the first helmets I think we've seen this game. So getting some decent gear. And just saw that the Dragon Tank drops a Time Hat. So second helmet we have found this game. Time Hat's just as good as a Rainbow Helm. Rainbow Helm provides 50% lightning protection. The Time Hat prevents stop and slow effects. So stop being the absolute worst status effect that you can get from Lavos late game, because if your entire team gets stopped, the game's essentially broken. And you can't win. So getting a Time Hat, very, very nice. And it looks like Azur was heading to the cathedral. Oh, this is to go check Xenon Bridge. I was like, what's he going to the castle for? But that's right, Azur Kale has not completed the Xenon Bridge quest, so he doesn't have his pendant to go to the future. And so that's going to be picked up while Akuhesh finishes up the desert quest, and Kai Ketsuki is going to be doing a little bit of future looting with all of the sealed doors that he now has access to. We'll see if Caillou decides to come back to the desert straight away, or if he's going to maybe go take on Son of Sun in the future, or go into the Eris Dome for that quest chain, or make the really ballsy play and go straight into Genodome, because I keep hearing everyone talk about, oh, we want to do Genodome first. Doing Genodome will be awesome. And then no one goes and does Genodome first because Genodome is a terrible dungeon that takes far, far too long, even though it gives you really good loot XP. Takahiro says, let's go clear Ozzy's fort. I mean, we could go clear Ozzy's fort. Ozzy's fort does not actually hold a key item, so we can't go clear that. Well, I mean, we could, but there's absolutely no reason to go clear that. There's less of a reason to go to Ozzy's fort than there is to clear the ruins in 600 AD, because the ruins at least gives Frog a power-up. Not that you should ever go do that in Jets either. Okay, Lord Batsy understands me. He knows how to get me to go clear Ozzy's fort. You put a cat on the tracker. If you put a cat on the tracker, I'll have to go clear it to go save the cat. And every scene I run would have an Ozzy fort clear. Alright, so Kai Ketsuki has decided to go for the Son of Sun fight. With Magus having Magic Wall, you can essentially put a barrier on everyone, get some protection from the fire attacks. If no one has a red vest, Flare could be a party wipe, but it's a fairly quick fight. The trick to the Son of Sun fight is to find the correct flame, which is random. And we see Flare comes out, takes out about half the HP of everyone. Once you find the correct flame, you have to hit it 10 times. If you can count to 10, you're good. If you can't count to 10, you just keep hitting it until it eventually tells you that it dies. And with that second little shadow attack, the Son of Sun fight is basically over for Kaike, so he just has to get enough hits. And we will be seeing what Son of Sun is going to drop. Meanwhile, Akuhesh is heading into Protodome. Is going to be looking for another character. So we'll see who is hidden behind the Protodome. If you're new and you go to Protodome to pick up the character, there is a Inatron here to refill your health and mana. Do not use it under any circumstances. It will lock up your game. It almost is a risk to lock up your game in vanilla. It is almost a guarantee to lock up your game in Jets, unfortunately. Oh, look, it's Chrono. And Akuhesh immediately turns around and says, nope, I don't care about Chrono anymore. We don't need no stinking Chrono. It's not like his name's in the title of the game. And Kai Katsuki just cleared Son of Sun, and I blinked at the wrong time and missed the item that was dropped. Looks like, according to our tracker, that was a Broken Hill. Oh, no, that's the Grand Leon. So, hey, look, Frog is all of a sudden useful. Bring back Frog! And Akuhesh is heading into Airstone, so we're going to know most of our future items, which will put us in a position where we should know probably what we need to do for Go mode. Actually, we're missing quite a bit still. We have a clone, we have a pendant. So if we found the chrono trigger in Eris Dome, we would be in Go mode. We don't have the gate key yet, so we don't have access to prehistory. And we don't have either part of the Masamune, which is probably making all the runners very excited, because that means there's no chance of us going to Magus' castle. Kai Katsuki says, "No, I will take Chrono with me, because it is his game." Now, that said, I don't expect to see Chrono actually join the party, but he at least takes it with him, so Kai Katsuki did save Fritz, so he can go get the 10 free mid-ethers. Meanwhile, the Guardian can be a dangerous enemy if you don't have some good AoE clear to take care of the bits. But between Magus having some good magic and Ayla having triple kick, the Guardian drops relatively easily. And we will see, well, a bit of a run before we get our next item. We do see Magus has learned Anti-Life. For those who are new to the randomizer, Anti-Life has replaced Magus's Black Hole tech, because Black Hole was buggy and was terrible. And it locked up the game. So instead, Anti-Life is kind of like a single target dark matter in terms of damage. But it is non-elemental, so it can't be absorbed by shadow. Does a high amount of damage, but it also kills Magus. So you only want to use it if you maybe have a green dream, or you have someone on your team with a resurrection spell, or if you know it's the final hit to kill a boss, or if you just want to be a kind of a jerk and kill Magus repeatedly. Alright, so with the Guardian dead, Akash making a bit of run, there is one more sealed door here where you're able to go pick up some good items. This one is the one that probably has the highest chance of having good items, just because there's more chests in there. It's also the one that's the most out of the way, and as a runner, I wish I could convince myself to skip this room. But every time that I do, I find out that I have something awesome in it, like an amulet and a prism dress. So yeah, this would be one that I'd skip, and there'd be an amulet and a prism dress in there. And when I go in there, you get things like, oh look, you found a swallow blade, or you found a lightning helm. So yeah, now we just you just have to go there, because if you don't, bad things are gonna happen. And today's race, I mean, a second amulet. If you decide that you want amulets in your on your team members, great. You just save 50,000 gold. If you decide, no, I've got enough status protection without it, then you can sell the amulet for 25,000 gold and buy all sorts of bukus and stuff. And we will find out what Eris Dome gives as its key item. It is a Prism Shard, which is useless because we don't have Marl, and we don't know where Marl is. There are two places left for people to go get characters. It is Dactyl Nest in 65 million BC, which we can't get to because you need the gate key, or you go find her in Frog's Hut, and she won't join you until you find both parts of the Masamune, which we have neither of. So that Prism Shard's almost a dead item at this point. And Akuhesh is down to a limited number of checks. He has not done Son of Sun yet, but we know that that's the Grand Leon, so that's nothing. We know that the runners have access to Toma's Pop by doing Hecarim's Cave, so Toma's Pop could turn into something by going through Giant's Claw. Dinador Mountain has not been run by anyone yet, so it could be holding a key item. And if both of those turn out to be bust, the last remaining location is Genodome. And we can watch people go attempt the conveyor belt skip. So Kai Katsuki making his run through to go pick up his awesome gear. Celebrating Akuhesh is looking for the random flame and found it first try. So that's going to be a fairly easy clear of Son of Sun. No one's really at risk dying there, so that's a relatively easy fight. Azure Kale has just made it to the future, having already done the quest for Toma's Pop. So in theory, has the potential to be further ahead of everyone if Toma's Pop leads to something good, but would require him to ignore the future and go straight to Giant's Claw, which I don't expect that we will see him do that. Instead, Azurka is also going to be starting his Son of Sun fight. So, everyone's going to have the Grand Leon. Is anyone going to put Frog back in the party? I have my money on no. I like Frog as a character. I think I think the character design's awesome. He's got some of the best theme music in the game. Should get used more often. Sadly, without the correct gear, he's just not as good. And finding that gear is a random crapshoot. And see chat saying that third flame is the lucky flame. Interestingly, for both Akuhesh and Azure Kale, the third flame from the left is the one that was the correct flame to hit. But for Kai Katsuki, it was the first flame from the left that had the that was the correct flame. So that is something to keep in mind. It is random every time. I think it's based on game count. Like there's a secret clock in the background that is counting. Resets do affect it, at least in the sense that if you start the fight and you die and it sends you back to the title screen and you come back in, technically that's not really a reset, I guess. But it does change in that case. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that it will also change if you do a hard reset. Like if you realize you're about to die and you reset, it will change. Alright, so Son of Sun losing his fire. Azure Kale will be getting his Grand Leon. Kai Katsuki heading to the desert. In the desert where you have access to the clone. So that's technically a step towards go mode. And Akuhesh has will be getting the Giant's Claw, so I expect he'll pick up the Toma's Pop here from defeating the Hecarim Cave, and then we'll go pour that out on the grave, head to 600 AD, and I don't know if we'll see Dinador Mountain first or Giant's Claw first, but I expect both of those to be cleared in short order. Yeah, because we still don't have access to Marl. If we find the gate key, we might be able to go get Marl off of Dactyl's nest and use that Prism Shard, but a lot of people don't like to do the Prism Shard quest, so I expect that to be one of the last checks. And yes, welcome to Akuhesh and the Raiders. Aku, you get to come watch your run. For those who are wondering, this is recordings of a race that has already occurred, which is why both Akuhesh is now able to join us, and Azur is sitting in chat. No, he's not chatting to us while running the race, as awesome as that would be. So no, now we have 2 of the 3 runners here with us, able to talk to us about all the decisions they've made and see what insights they are able and willing to give us. Right now, this is a bit of a catch-up period, as every runner is kind of going to clear the same general areas that other runners have already cleared. We've seen all the information. So nothing new for us. Oh, I take it back. There is something new for us. Akuhesh is going to get access to the double chest because he came here after going to the future. So he gets a couple of extra, including a haste helm. Poor Azur Kale, having done this before going to the future, doesn't get a haste helm. Unless he decides to go back into Hecarim's cave for reasons. Now, getting a haste helm, that's an awesome find, and makes you feel really good about coming here later. Also, with a haste helm and the time hat from the dragon tank and an amulet from Magus, in theory, all 3 characters can be immune to slow and stop with no future investment. So, game run ending obstacles from Lavos are now completely avoidable. As the Azur says, haste helms are a crutch. They may be a crutch, but I'm fairly certain that if I went back to start running right now, I'd have a broken leg, and I want my crutch with me. And, wow, Akuhesh summons the golem. I look away to check on the other runners. I look back, and the golem is already dead. That is one very quick golem kill. Beast Tossed is OP, indeed. One of the better techs in the game for the bosses that it works on. The only downside to Beast Toss is it doesn't work on any of the final bosses. But if it did, it would also be way too powerful, so I guess I'm glad that it doesn't. Instead, we have things like Crisis Arm Fire Tackle for 9,999 damage. Because that's not broken, but Beast Toss being usable on the tiny little Lavos bit would be. Alright, so Akuhesh has gone to the fair. I guess that was to pick up a few shelters, or maybe some revives. Does have his Thomas Pop, and with that, almost went to 600 AD a little bit early. And is instead now going to go pour one out for poor old Toma, who's going to tell him that the Giant's Claw exists on a cavern. How it is that we're flying around the world and can't see the entrance to the cave, but being told that it exists 400 years later makes the cave appear in the past can only be explained in one phrase. Time travel. Time travel is a pain. But it's the only reason this game works. And honestly, Chrono Trigger does the best job of dealing with time travel in a reasonable fashion. Aliens. No, there's the explanation. Aliens do show up in Black Omen. There are aliens and mutants. The only saving grace, no one gets turned into a baby. So I see this as an absolute win. Zurkel sees Chrono is present and says, I didn't say Fritz. So ignores Chrono. And two people decided that the namesake of the game shouldn't actually get to participate in the game. Lavos is an alien. Technically, yes, Lavos is an alien. I was actually thinking of there are a couple of enemies literally named Alien in Black Omen. But yes, Lavos is an alien because he comes off this planet. That's a very good point. Azurkel has gone into Genodome. Oh, so we are getting an early Genodome play. Relatively early Genodome play. My God, he's done it! And we have the kitten falling from the sky on Akahesh's side. Again, the cat's the reason the game exists. The whole reason Jets of Time occurs is because Chrono Cat hops into a time gate at the end of Vanilla. Alright, so for the Genodome fight, we have Ice 2 available, which isn't really that high of a damage marker. We've got Shock available. So Shock will do pretty good damage. And a fight that I'm not used to seeing in Giant's Claw. If you miss that button, you trigger a fight sequence. And I don't think I've ever actually hit that fight. I didn't know you could run from it. Azur says, struggling with MP for Shock here. If you had saved Fritz and picked up Chrono, you could have gotten mid-tonics, and then you wouldn't have been struggling for MP. And I just saw Dual Tech Boogie got learned. Boogie applies stop and is really useful for some fights, so we'll see if anything comes from that. Akash has finished the Giant's Claw run, didn't go pick up all the power tabs, but is going to be fighting Masamune on top of the body of a giant dragon. So it's like he doubled up on leg day. And those tiny little legs got inserted and turned into the legs of a giant chicken dragon. On the plus side, the Masamune fight is not too challenging, particularly since you have Beast Toss dealing 2,300 damage almost. Dark Bomb doing a paltry 700 damage. 3 Dark Bombs, almost as good as a Beast Tossed. And unfortunately, Magus is dead. So there's no one alive to give mana to Robo and Ayla. Oh, look at that Shock doing 362 damage. Robo, just stop. Just stop, Robo. Your job is to throw ethers onto Ayla now. Just stop. And with that, though, Masamune goes down, the dragon disappears, and we will see what our item is. That was a shocking amount of damage. Boo! Yes, exclamation point, boo! Also, exclamation point, boo! It's the Moonstone! Also, completely useless without the gate key. So we have the Prism Shard that is going to be useless without the gate key because, well, 99% useless without the gate key because I'm pretty sure Marl is going to be on deck. Or that one of the two parts of the Broken Mass Moon is going to be in prehistory. The Moonstone, which is completely useless without the gate key, but both of which can be used once you get the gate key. Do the Prism Shard quest and you can turn in both of them and get 2 key items at once. So the real question is the gate key in Dinodora Mountain or is it in Genodome? And if it's in one of them, is the Chrono Trigger in the other, negating the need for the gate key altogether? Because you'd have go mode through Black Omen. The best part is, we're about to find out, because Azure Kale is getting relatively close to the end of Genodome. We know that Giant's Claw is a big disappointment. And Kyle Katsuki is about to go start his run of disappointment. And Akuhesh is going to be climbing the mountain, which will give us the last bit of information we need. Azure asks, will Azure go for conveyor belt skip? Find out next time on Jets of Time Z. And I will admit, he almost got me for a second because I saw him step into the power converter and I thought he was going to make a run for it. No, he's just going to ignore and skip it all. Or maybe not. Maybe he's clearing the path. Yeah, if you fight this battle, that's typically a sign that you're going for the conveyor skip. And Akash, trying to get the skip of the deli birds, is able to do so. Finds another berserker. That's going to be useless now. Also, a Ceratopper. Still no great gear. I didn't see any great gear in Giant's Claw either, really. Alright, Azure Kale has gone back, is going for the conveyor skip. That looks like a good entry. The lightning shock is traveling behind Ayla. That bump on the corner might be enough to slow him down. And is just able to make it in before that fades away. And I will apologize again for those who have heard earlier. I am having to watch on the stream to do commentary because the Discord is still lagging out. So I am slightly behind everyone else who's watching. So apologies for the commentary lagging ever so slightly in a speed run. But it was a very, very close skip. That may have had frames left over. So Zerkel, probably about 2/3 of the way through Genodome at this point. Akash doing the fight against Massa and Mune separately as they prepare to do their fusion dance. A quick triple kick and an Uzi punch, I imagine. Wait, why triple kick and Uzi punch? Why not just Beast Toss to be done? But you took one extract, that's fine. MP conservation. Okay, that's fair. Because I guess that means you didn't have to spend any MP off of Robo. And spent 3 times as much MP off of Ayla. But no, we see Beastall's now coming out for 2,200 damage, and then a fire tech to trigger the golem into fire stance. We talked earlier about how doing certain techs will cause certain attacks from golems. If you can end your cycle on a fire tech or an ice tech, you are guaranteed to get a single target, fairly low-powered magical attack in return. However, you must, once he's done an attack, you must shift him off of his current stance and then back. Otherwise, he will do a 2-stage attack. And for both fire and ice, I seem to remember it being very deadly. So Akash is about to find out what gift Masa and Mune will bestow upon him, while Azure Kale is fighting the final set of lasers outside of Mother's Brain Room. We haven't found Samus Aran yet, so I don't know how he's going to defeat Mother Brain. He's going to go find 30 super missiles. Probably have enough energy, though. The Dinodora Mountain restores us a bent hilt. Oh no. Oh, I am very excited now in whatever Azure Kale is going to find, because there's two options. It's either the Gate Key, which unlocks all sorts of fetch quests, or it's the Broken Blade and everyone goes to fight Magus. That is the only item left that we don't know that we have access to. And if it is the Broken Hill, that means the rest of the run can be said the Gate Key is on Mount Woe, which no one will actually climb. So is this the Gate Key? Or is this the Broken Blade? Akash has found a new, so he's going to get some nice tech points. And we see Azure Kale making use of Boogie. You might not know that you can put computers to sleep, but sleep mode is a thing, and that makes this fight much, much easier. Who knew that in 2300 AD, everyone would still be running things like Windows 95 that has sleep mode? Alright, in Frog's Hut, we pick up a power meal, and we see that Luca is in the hut, which means Marl is on Dactyl Nest. Mother Brain is down, and we have found the Gate Key. Okay, so, good news. No one has to go run Magus's castle yet. Bad news is, all the fetch quests. Because now it's the Prism Shard from Eris Dome, the Moonstone from Giant's Claw. Reptile Layer could hold Go Mode, and you get to avoid all of that. Also, Reptile Layer could hold the Broken Blade, which sends you into Magus' castle. And that's a good point, Mian. World ends in 1999, so no, everyone updated Windows 98. Lavos saved the worlds from Windows ME. Oh, that's wonderful. So, my question now is Azure Kale going to go straight to Reptile Layer to find out what Reptile Layer drops, or is he going to go follow up on the Thomas Pop that he was the first person to find? Looks like the answer is he's going to go do Giant's Call and get his Moonstone. So we are going to have another dungeon's worth of runner overlap where we've seen the dungeons, we kind of know what's happened. So a good chance to take stock, see kind of where everyone is in levels, take a chance to look at menu screens if people are convenient and show them. We know that we have time hats, and in Akuheshi's case and Harikatsuki's case, we have haste helms. And oh no, I was wrong. He triggered the Giant's Claw cast, but has gone into Reptite Lair first, which is awesome because we have a chance at getting a thing. We got the immediate Digging Weevil, but it is unfortunately in the wrong area of the map to get us into the secret tunnel. If that Digging Weevil is in the lower half of the cave, you get access to the secret tunnel where A, you get to sing a song, and B, you get some really cool items and get to avoid 2 fights. I am so glad that chat is enjoying the sing-along. Fortunately, no one has to die in the secret tunnel. But we are going to see shortly, maybe Reptite Lair is the savior of all of the fetch quests. Or it's going to be the trigger for all of the pain. Well, Kaiketsuki is going to be finding his very sad piece of a sword by fighting Masamune. Akash making his way through Junodome slightly later, so going to have access to slightly stronger text. I still don't think Magus has Dark Matter or Darkness, though. So, oh, never mind. There it is. Magus learns Dark Matter. Just in time for the conveyor belt to end. What wonderful timing. Thank you, Magus. You learned everything you needed just in enough time to not have it be useful. Alright, so we do get another random boss here. It is going to be Slash standing in for Nizbel today. Could be Slash, could be Slash 2. We won't know until the fight starts. It is regular Slash, which, for me at least, is the most dangerous of the 2 Slashes. Slash 2, I seem to have less trouble with. Slash 1 has this ugly counterattack thing that he ends up doing, which is just kind of nasty if he's powerful enough that it actually hurts. Of course, if you have Beast Tossed and you're going to do nearly 3,000 damage a turn, and Magus can sit there and be Potion Boy for Ayla and Robo, it doesn't really matter. Slash more like Slush. That's Sir Slush to you. Alright, we are going to see it is a hero medal. Well, technically this engages another fetch quest, but now Frog can reach the pinnacle form of Ultimate Frog by having both the Grand Leon and the Hero Medal. I really hope that someone decides, Robo's too slow, even with the Robo Ribbon, and brings Frog back in for Hero Medal Grand Leon Dropkick shenanigans. And another new sighting! However, I was going to say, I'm not sure the new actually ended up on the screen for the fight, but it was hidden by the menu. Good news, everyone! And the Hero Medal gives us the Bent Sword! It's a Magus Go mode! All that effort for a Magus Go mode! Except Azur hasn't done Dinador Mountain and thus doesn't know that it's Go mode! So we know where Go mode is. Where was the broken sword? Oh, Azur telling us that he doesn't go this way eventually. The broken hilt is on Dinador Mountain. Spoiler alerts, I guess. Azur doesn't end up going through Magus' castle, it seems. Or he has blocked the memory so firmly that we won't see it. Oh, you meant who got the sword? And while we're bemoaning the fact that we have a Magus Castle no mode, Aikohesh does get the conveyor belt skip and is going to be setting up his little robot skip. So that's 2 people who've made the conveyor belt skip, which is probably the most technical skip in the entirety of Chrono Trigger. That said, for people who are new just finding this randomizer, don't feel like you have to be able to do the conveyor belt skip to play the randomizer. It is not required. Believe me, I know, because I still can't do it. But instead, we're going to have some Genodome runs. We're going to have Giant's Claw being cleared, which could send Azur to go find Marl on top of Dactylus, because he'd be able to do the 2-item turn-in. Yeah, the other technical skip is probably the Dactyl skip, or the free treasure chest in Genodome that everyone skips now because they do the conveyor belt skip. Right above the room that you pass on the way doing your conveyor belt skip, there's a room with 2 chests, and normally if you hit the 2 chests to trigger a fight, you can skip that in a 2-pixel window where you can access the chest and not trigger the fight, which I found by accident. So you've got a 2-pixel window there. You've got like a 2 or 3 pixel window for the Dactyl skip, and then like it's 2 or 3 frames for the conveyor belt skip, I think. It's certainly a small number, but that one also requires you to do a really precise run in addition to hitting a 2 or 3 window to start the skip. So, I mean, those are your 3 really technical skips, and only 2 of them actually do something really important. And this seed is apparently being very generous with hats. We've gotten time hats. We just saw a memory hat. We saw prism helms. We got haste helms. We've got time hats. We've got a couple of lightning helms. I want to say we've seen a couple of mermaid caps. So just about everything you could find in terms of helmets has dropped in this game. And then you'll have scenes where no helmets drop, and you're fighting Lavos in hide tunics and hide caps. The Hat in Time is a very good game. So Azurkale picked up his Moonstone and now is kind of being told, hey, you need to go back to prehistory because everything you need is there except for Dinador Mountain, which hasn't been climbed yet. Will we go climb Dinador Mountain? Or are we heading... Oh, we're going to start the Prism Shard quest, which you can't complete because you don't have Marl yet. Marl is sitting on Dactyl Nest, and he knows. Oh, but you can't start it because you don't have Marl. So, you can't actually start this quest yet. And the opportunity for an early, well, relatively early Magus Go mode seems to be gone. As Azure goes to 1000 AD. You can, I believe you can drop it off without Marl, so long as Marl has joined the party. She doesn't have to be in your 3-player characters, but she does have to have joined the party, I think. Yeah, Marl has to exist. Currently, Marl both exists and doesn't exist because of Schrodinger's cat. Because, again, cats are the reason this game exists. So until you climb Dactyl Nest and get her, she both exists and doesn't exist. And so Azure is going to be climbing Dactyl Nest, where we're going to find Marl, whose sole reason for existence is so that people can go run the Prism Shard quest. Oh, there was a fun softlock in the Chronosenity mode. You could turn the shell in without Marl, but then you would lock yourself out of the castle in 1000 AD, which could contain Go mode. So it now is changed to require Marl in the party. So, Angro, by in the party, do you mean she must be one of the 3 characters on screen, or that she just must exist and have been found by the party? Just recruited. Okay. So we see skip 1. This is, like I said, a 2-pixel window, and Azurkale picks up the second one as well. So you skip 2 fights, and we have Marl provoking some baby dactyls. And mocking us. And with Marl in the party, Azure is heading to 600 AD, is going to go start the Prism Shard quest, turn in the Prism Shard, go do the Prism Shard, but you didn't turn in the Sunstone, and he immediately goes back to 65 million BC, which I'm guessing is to drop off the Sunstone. Also, I'm just noticing Akuhesh has made his way into the secret tunnel. So everyone can sing the song again as Akuhesh is in the secret tunnel. Through the mountain he goes into the secret tunnel where Slash will die. Also, I now kind of want to see a way that we can fit the so-called soup drinking competition back into Jets of Time, so that if you go through the secret tunnel, you have to somehow do the soup drinking minigame, so that we can say you're drinking cactus juice, because it's the quenchiest. Well, it's all sorts of return of the former runners tonight. We see Moon Blizzard popping in chat. We had Taco Hero earlier, so we've got lots of people coming back in. Moon Blizzard is the former world record holder for Jets of Time, current race bike champion from the first large tournament that we did. I imagine that might get updated after this ladder tournament concludes on Thursday. Speaking of which, Thursday night, finals for the ladder tournaments start. It is a live race, so still don't know if that's going to be here or if it's going to be on Speed Gaming. But finals, Thursday night, I want to say it's at like 5:30 Eastern, question mark? 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, people, for keeping me honest. So yeah, 6 Eastern, which is 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. And if anyone's stuck in Mountain Time, I am so sorry, but it's 4 p.m. for you. So Akuhash, finishing up the red layer here, is going to find the broken blade and looks to will be our first runner who will be in go mode, because he's going to find his broken blade at the end of this tunnel. Yeah, I do say that on a stream currently being broadcast from Mountain Time Zone. I just spent a month in the Mountain Time Zone, and everyone who tried to call me never could remember what time it was. So, no, Mountain Time Zone is still the forgotten time zone. The NFLD time zones are forgotten one. It's currently 10 p.m. there because there's a 30-minute time difference. Well, that's just confusing. Well, Akuhesh has his go mode and doing a little bit of shopping, a little bit of healing. Will we see go mode achieved? Or are we going to see a frantic run to avoid having to go into Magus' castle? Now it looks like we're heading... Well, I guess technically don't have the blade yet. It is the hero medal first. So you've got to go turn in the hero medal to get the blade. That's true. Now it's go mode. And we got the ruby. Seeing ruby knife mentioned. Did the ruby knife drop in the... I missed it on a Azure Kale screen. Is that the ruby knife that dropped? Yep. Alright, so technically that is known mode for Azure Kale as well, because the Dreamstone is sitting in the snail stop. So the real question then, does Azure Kale remember that the Dreamstone is sitting in the snail stop nearly an hour and a half ago? All right, so the massive moon has been reforged. We are going to get to see Frog for all of like 15 seconds. Oh, look, a Wonder Shot! Is someone gonna go free Luca just to use the Wonder Shot? And the randomizer has blessed Azurkale. Yakra the 13th has been replaced by just a plain old Yakra. Akuhesh is going to go retrieve Luca, which means we have the potential for a Wonder Shot. We'll get to check Luca's early techs. Maybe Luca starts with Flare already learned, and so she gets to join the party. Frog also joining the party for all of 15 seconds to go and unlock the doorway to Magus's castle. Luca knows Mega Bomb. Not terrible. Is going to go the end of time though, so this is going to be unlocking magic for Luca and Frog. Akash says, I don't remember any of this. Did you block it out of your brain because it forced you to go to Magus's castle? You know, where was the trigger? Oh, I think the trigger got marked instead of the hero medal. Because they're both small round things. I apologize. I got a text from work. I had to take that for a second. My apologies. And the Discord stream has dropped again. Back to Twitch. The Dreamstone just got picked up by Azure, so that is one Dreamstone and one Go mode. Or not for by Azure Kale. And I did see someone mention the cats got petted again, so good job petting the cat. I appreciate that, validating the stream by petting the cat, because that is important. And we get the coolest cutscene in the game. Also, the coolest cutscene in the PlayStation version. If you played the PlayStation version of Chrono Trigger with its stupidly long load times, but really awesome little mini anime videos during the cutscene for the opening of the Magic Cave. So you get this awesome cutscene. So, this one, the first attack on Lava's cutscene, and the ending game scene. Oh, the anime scenes are in the DS version. Oh. Well, dang it. Now I'm going to have to go buy Chrono Trigger on the Steam. Darn it, Lord Batsy. That is not what I needed. Alright, so we do have Akuhesh is picking up a few extra chests. Got some gold earrings. Technically, I saw two, but it looks like only one, so you got a magic tab. Maybe it's the other one. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a bug where if you open up the two sealed chests too quickly to each other, the same text gets written twice. And we have Azurkill starting the run in Tyranno Lair. So Tyranno Lair and Magus' Castle are both going to start at roughly the same time. And we're going to see, probably, why everyone hates running through Magus' Castle, because I expect that Tyranno Lair is going to be finished a good 5 minutes ahead of finishing Magus' Castle, and they both put you out at the exact same spot. Oh, the Steam version changes the item names. Ugh, that sounds terrible. I knew it changed some tech names, and that was going to be confusing enough. So we're going to see, we did see the teleportation room in Tyranno Lair. Didn't have much in the way of good loot. We're going to see if anything great is in Magus' Castle. Didn't see anything in the Slash room. And Slash 2 has replaced Nizbel 2. That is not a guarantee, but it is oddly satisfying. Alright, we have a Super Slash. Super Slash is vulnerable to status effects as Boogie is used, and the fight is effectively over. Or Super Slash is just gonna get wailed on. Kaya Katsuki is making his way through the, making his way through Guardia Castle, doing his Prism Shard quest. So it looks like Kaya Katsuki's also going to be getting the news about the Ruby Knife, which will give access to Go mode through Tyranno Lair, which will help make up a little bit of time, possibly. Akuhesh is making his way through Magus' Castle. Azurkill almost already finished with Tyranno Lair. I may have undershot my, Tyranno Lair will be 5 minutes faster. It may be like 10 minutes faster. unless the Black Toretto decides that today is a good day for everyone to die, somehow rolls like maximum HP, Azur does pitiful damage for unknown reasons, and Black Toretto one-shots everyone. That's not happening. I like the consideration there of, well, maybe I could do Beast Toss on Azala. I don't think that actually would work unless you hit him with lightning first. But Azala might be susceptible to stop, which means you could then use use Tailspin on Black Toretto repeatedly and remove any sort of concern of not actually defeating Black Toretto. And Akirash taking on the most difficult boss in the game, as the boss of all golems has appeared in place of Slash. And the boss of all golems dies a very pitiful death. And now we've got the damage going on to Black Toretto. Just triple kicks, dark matters, Uzi punches. The Black Toretto can roll an HP range. I believe it's between 8 and 13,000 HP. Even at the high range, this run has gone long enough that everyone should be high enough leveled that fighting Black Toretto isn't a concern. But if you manage to not kill him before the countdown completes, he will do a massive damage elemental attack that is randomly selected. So you can't prep ahead of time with elemental gear unless you lose to him first and then come back. Instead, he rolled low HP and he's already dead before I could finish giving the description of what the fight might be like. As Akuhesh defeats the fake flea, gets someone nailed with an MP Buster, I missed who, and has summoned a Hecarim instead. So Robo has no mana. Ayla has no... Well, she has Tailspin, so technically can do some damage. And Flare was tech number 4. So Luca does find Flare, which will make the final fight a little bit easier for Akuhesh, because Flare will outdamage Dark Matter significantly. Also, you get access to things like Blaze Kick. Although I kind of would think that maybe you put Magus in for Ayla during the Magus Castle run, just because having the magic damage available is so much nicer. Maybe we'll see a swap out right before the Magus fight, because getting free barriers on everyone, if you haven't found a place to buy barriers, is really good. And also, it is 1 hour, 40 minutes, 29 seconds. Azur Kale is entering the portal to 12,000 BC. So basically an hour, 40 minutes, 30 seconds. We'll see how much longer it takes to clear Magus' castle. Akira says, you're going to notice I do not like swapping characters. Okay, then. And that is a perfectly valid response, because every time you swap characters, you're going to have to probably change some equipment around. You have a couple of menu screens. It takes time. The engineer in me screams at the inefficiency of having Ayla in the fight against Hecarim, because she can't hardly do anything. But you are correct that it is probably faster to save time, because Robo and Luco do enough damage, it's fine. But the engineer in me screams. And we're going to get to see the super secret new shop for new runners. This new has 2 shops. One if you talk to him from the right, one if you talk to him from above, and the shop from above is guaranteed to have a pendant in his shop for 50,000 gold. Usually he has a mega elixir, also 50,000 gold. Right now we're just seeing everything be sold, and we'll see what gets purchased. Alright, looks like mega elixirs for sale, prism specs for sale for 65,000, elixirs for sale. So, I mean, all the restoratives, all the damage. The entire team can be outfitted in prism specs. And I see you mentioned that you're the person who puts the square block in the triangle hole. There is a video out there of it's like showing the pain of, I think, computer developers, where they show it's a person with one of the little baby toys and it has all the different shapes. You're supposed to put the correct shape in the correct hole, and they keep showing it, and turns out every single shape can fit in the square hole, and there's a person there who just looks more and more appalled as it goes. Yeah, that caused so much pain the first time I saw it. There are not words to describe how much pain that video causes. Alright, so Akash, doing the first of the 2 stair climbs, will we get the good skip? Yes, the perfect skip through the pit room. No extra magic tab for Akash, but it does get you through without any extra fights. A couple of dodges here, while Yakra the 13th has made an appearance in place of one of the golems and immediately confuses Magus because he took off his sister's amulet. Show you to disrespect family heirlooms. Gonna make you attack your friends. Instead, we're still gonna have plenty of damage because Beast Tossed is just gonna do ridiculous damage. For Magus, they're not friends, just expendable associates, which is why Magus learned anti-life. It's like, nope, I don't want to be around these people anymore, and just kills himself to do damage, so he can say, no, look, really, I am helping. I just don't want to be near you. So we're already past that 5-minute mark, just about, of when I thought Magus's castle might be done. And we're actually getting pretty close. The next room, I think, is the Aussie fight. So it's kind of close to 5-minute difference. But Azurkale is already into the Ocean Palace. And Kaiketsuki is finishing up, looks like chest looting. Going and picking up all the sealed chests. See if there's anything cool. A Dark Helm. Dark Helm's nice. And a Tabin suit. Well, if Kaiketsuki does go and get Tabin, then or not get Tabin, get Luca, that Tabin suit is actually really powerful. But I guess that won't happen because he's going to go through Black Trino and doesn't have to go Forge the Massive Moon. So no Luca means the Tabin suit's not very useful. That is disappointing for us, not for Kaiketsuki. Kaiketsuki would be glad that he's not going through Magus's castle. Akahesh cheesing out all of the fights. And we have ourselves the ever-present Aussie who's going to put himself in an ice block An interesting tidbit, you can charm these these chains, and by charming the chains, you can get double items if they happen to drop anything good. And since Ayla typically has the highest speed, it's usually worth it to use the charm, unless the item is terrible and then you save the animation time. But they're dropping mid-ethers. That's good. Azure Kale says, I have enough levels. I don't need to grind. Just one pass-through is going to give enough experience. I think I have seen Dino Tail on Ayla's tech list already. So the elevator fights will be made easy. And people would say, who needs Fritz? Hashtag leave Fritz. Yeah, look, all the mid-ethers that you need without having to save the drug dealer. Oh, and to add insult to injury, oh, you charm the chains for mid-ethers? That's great. The, I don't remember the name of the enemies. The enemies that Azure Kale just killed, they're dropping hyper ethers, and you fight at least 6 sets of them between now and the end of the game. So that's 6 free hyper ethers. Who needs Fritz indeed? Also, final chance, who is Magus today? Because Magus may not actually be Magus. I'm hoping that it's Luca because she got left behind in 2 of the 3 seeds. Oh, it is Vanilla Magus in Magus's castle, but with a cool chroma shift. So we turn Magus into Alucard. No, actually, that would be really awesome if we could change like all of Magus's attack so that if it rolled Vanilla Magus instead of being Magus with all the magic and stuff, it turns out he does things like sword impalements, bat attacks. I mean, talk about all the coding and art animation that need to be done, but you put Alucard into the game as the replacement for Magus. But instead, no, it is a vanilla Magus that works just the way you remember the Magus fight working. Each time you attack him with magic, he will counter-attack with a new magic spell, which is the element you have to hit him with. And if you don't have that element, you have to auto-attack him or hit him with something non-magical and hope that it changes the element so you can actually do damage to him. Although in this case, you could do Beast Tossed and probably do more damage than you would do with magic anyway. And speaking of the devil, there's the Beast Tossed. For 1,700 damage. That's surprising. I figured it would do more. And on Azure Kale's side, we see the power of summoning dinosaurs through time, because Ayla is secretly the most powerful mage in the game. Summons dinosaurs that one-shot everything on elevators. Also, this explains why Marl has access to haste. She's a descendant of the very first time mage, because Ayla can summon dinosaurs through time. Alright, and this is the fight on Azure Kale's screen. Why you want something like Dino Tail or Frog Squash just to avoid this one particular fight. This one fight is the reason you need it. But Tattletale will take care of it all in one shot. While on Akimash's side, Magus is casting a spell, getting ready to go into his final phase, where we will see Dark Matter get cast if the time lasts long enough. But it looks like that's not happening, and he died very quickly. Never mind. Magus is a bit of a wimp today. And Azurkill getting caught in... This is another one of the technical skips that we were talking about technical skips earlier. Skipping the Scouter fight in these two rooms is rather technical because you have to run in at one angle and then walk out, specifically walk out at a slightly different angle to avoid getting caught in these fights. All right, and so I didn't see what time Magus officially died, but we're at 1:53, so nearly 10 minutes, 13-minute difference between running Tyranno Lair and Magus's Castle. Which is why everyone hates seeing Magus' Castle show up, because it tacks an extra 15 minutes onto your run. And we are about to see the final randomized boss of this run, because the final bosses of the game are not randomized. The final boss is doubled, and it is Double Nizbel. Double Nizbel 2s. This is not an easy fight. The AoE damage that Nizbel 2 can put out is not insignificant, and you can't beast toss them because you're not gonna break their defense fast enough. Because even being hit by lightning, that only does 900 damage. You are probably better off in this run hitting it with Dark Matter and Shock, and Ayla just throws potions on people. Because to lower their defenses enough where Dark Matter would actually work, or not Dark Matter, Beast Toss would work, you'd have to hit them with 3 lightning attacks, and then they counterattack with a lightning blast. You get hit twice for 200-ish damage a pop, so most everyone takes significant damage, and they're going to be attacking you the entire time. And now we've got Dark Matter coming through. We've got Twister, or not Twister, Tailspin coming through, doing nearly 800 damage because Tailspin ignores resistances. So the fact that it's not elemental, it ignores all defenses. So it just does a flat amount of damage, which is really nice because that also works against things like Black Tyranno before he lowers his defense, or Nizbel if you don't have lightning. Tailspin can be a real lifesaver. Akuhesh doing his fight against Yakro 13. We've got Luca with Chaos applied. Unless Luca's wearing the Wonder Shot, that's not too concerning. If Luca is wearing the Wonder Shot, that could be a very, very large amount of damage. I saw that crit come through, and I was going to be very concerned. Oh no, it's Luca with a Wonder Shot. She one-shots her entire team. Kai Katsuki has finished up the Black Tyranno and is going to be heading into Ocean Palace here in just a few minutes. Well, heading into Zeal in just a few minutes. Azurkale finishing up the fight against the Nizbels. I believe the first Nizbel is probably dead. And we did have enough lightning damage go through, apparently, that the defenses got lowered because I saw a 3,000 damage Beast Toss go through. And Nizbel 2 the second is down, and that is the fight. No more random bosses for Azurkale. Dark Mist learned as the final tech for Magus. Well, we already learned Dark Matter. Dark Mist is kind of superfluous at this point. Taking a look at items on Azurkale's side, I saw one elixir, but he's got 5 hyper ethers, and you've got heal beam on Robo, so technically your healing's kind of taken care of. I don't know Robo's speed stat. That might be a concern because Robo, being a bit of a slow boy, can make the final fight a bit scary, just because the amount of damage that gets put out before your healer can deal with it. Upcoming is going to be first the fight against the Lavo Shell. The Lavo Shell follows a very predictable pattern of damage. It starts off with Destruction Rains from the Heavens, which will do around 150-200 damage to your entire party. It will then follow up with Obstacle, which will be an AoE status effect randomly chosen for the seed, meaning that Obstacle, regardless of who uses it, will always do the same status effect within a seed, but you don't know what it is till the first time you see someone use Obstacle, which is typically either Lavos or one of the mutants in Black Omen. After the Obstacle, the next attack is an AoE fire attack that's not actually fire elemental, but does some decent damage, and then the cycle repeats. So you've got those 3 attacks that go in a cycle, and you kind of have to be able to survive/heal through it all. The good thing is once you know how much damage they do, you can accurately plan your turns from there on out and know exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it. And we've gotten like 2 amulets and a prism helm, so everyone has full status protection, and Obstacle is a complete and total joke. We see Akohesh starting his run through the grinding room. For those who are new to the randomizer, this area in the Ocean Palace is the perfect place to grind if you can make it here, because the enemies give a lot of tech points, a lot of experience, and tend to drop decent items. Like today, they're dropping Hyper Ethers. Kayuketsuki is getting ready for his fight against Yakra the 13th, and will be entering into Ocean Palace shortly as Azurkale finishes off the Lavos Shell and will be walking in to fight Lavos Stage 2. Lavos Stage 2 also has a predictable form of attack. The fight always begins with the Doors of Doom being opened, which is Lavos flashing you and hitting you with lasers. I'm not sure which part it is that deals the damage, but it's significant damage either way. After that, he throws out Boomerangs of Doom, which will one-shot squishy characters and severely damage even tanky characters if you did not heal after the Doors of Doom. And hopefully by that point you're able to take out one of the arms or both of the arms to start the next phase. Otherwise he goes into attacks like Stop and Healing attack on the body and a few other odd things. But typically you get to see the first 2 attacks, maybe one other. and then the arms go down and a new phase will start. And Azure is going straight for the kill. We're not going to bother healing. So triple kick, Uzi punch on the left arm will not kill the arm on its own. Dark matter will do about 15 to 1700 damage and is going to be very close. And it is just enough. You've got to do about 4,000, 4,500 damage to take out the left arm. The right arm only has 3,000 damage, but also is the one that is less threatening. But by getting that sequence of attacks in, we skip the boomerang phase, and no one's going to get hit. But you do get hit with a status removal attack. So your protection from the amulet is nullified on whoever it hits. In this case, it's Robo, which is probably the worst case, because he's your healer. Akuhesh going through his elevator, summoning dinosaurs through time to make quick work of the elevator sequence, while Kaiketsuki is in Ocean Palace about to get on the elevator himself. And with the second arm down, you're going to get a new phase of attacks from Lavos, stage 2. Starts off with an obstacle that we just now saw. And we see that obstacles effect today is lock. So prevents all tech usage. That's kind of a big deal. So we're going to see some item heals. Removing lock from Ayla and Robo here. They lost their status protection thanks to the status removal. The next attack is Shadow Slay, which will poison your characters. Poison dealing damage over time and reducing the damage they deal. After that is Flame Battle, which is a single target fire damage attack that must have been coded incorrectly because it does like 80 damage. And then I don't remember the name of the next attack, but it's basically high AoE shadow fire damage that has the potential to wipe your party. And it has been long enough that I have forgotten the name of the attack. And then if you wait long enough, you'll see something called Lavos' Evil Emanation, which will boost his attack stats straight up. Yes, Shadow Doomblaze, that's the one. After Shadow Doomblaze, you get Evil Emanation, which will raise his power, and then he'll go through the cycle again. If for some reason you make it to Shadow Doomblaze the second go through, Shadow Doomblaze will one-shot your party. Instead, we see him drop a Mega Elixir and a Silver Stud, and we get to another somewhat technical skip. One of the few glitches that's allowed in the randomizer, even in the no glitches category, is the menu skip. After Lavos summons his little bits, the screen will fade to white/black. And as it does so, if you press the menu button at exactly the right time, you get to go into the menu screen between Phase 2 and Phase 3. And when you do that, you get to use all your items to heal, change equipment, all sorts of stuff. And we see that Azurkale has managed to hit that skip, which is one of the few things that makes the Lavos fight actually doable at super low levels in the randomizer. At level 33, 34, 35, you could do it without the skip. You'd be fine. Particularly since you had Mega Elixirs for sale. But if you got a Jet Seed and you're here at level 25, you have to hit this menu skip or the fight's near impossible. We are going to see which tactic Azure is going to choose. There's two ways to go about it. You can do a center bit strat, where you kill the center bit by hitting it with whatever you need, do 8,000 damage to kill the center. Or the left bit strat requires 3,000 damage that must be physical in nature. And between Uzi Punch and Triple Kick, he does exactly 3,000 damage. With that down, The right bit, which is the actual target, will lower his defense. And lowering the defense will make it so that you can actually do damage to the right bit. But by having the center bit still alive, the center bit will do time warps and possibly hit you with massive attacks. By shifting to the past, you were about to see Grand Dreamstone. It's a high physical damage attack. I think everyone in the party will survive, but Magus will probably be under 100 HP. Akuhesh is currently fighting the Nizbels. Luca has gone down from the lightning shocks. And Akuhesh is trying to decide how to best tackle this, because reviving Luca straight into another electric shock, and Luca's going to go down again. As the Grand Dreamstone attack comes out on Azure Kale side and does 500 damage to Magus down to 37 HP. But, oh look, 2 Mega Elixirs. Guess who's at full health and full mana? Everyone. And on his Akash's side, Robo goes down to AoE damage. So Luca at 50 HP. Robo's down. Ayla gets body slammed for 70. She's down to 75 HP. Lapis comes out, which will probably stabilize the fight somewhat. But no damage coming out on the Nizbels. And we see on the right-hand side, Azure Kale is... the left bit and the center bit have revived. They've done a time warp to 12,000 BC, which will be invading light slow. It's an AoE attack that does decent damage, but also slows your entire party. You don't want to see that. So the way you avoid these time warps and the massive damage attacks is you kill the center bit, but you've got to have something that can do a lot of damage in an AoE to make it worthwhile. That also doesn't heal the left bit or cause any more problems. Because if you kill the center bit, hit the left bit with damage, it does a counterattack, X-Strike, or like 700 damage. So, I mean, there's some patterns to work through when fighting Lavos, which is what makes him a very exciting final boss. And Akuhesh does manage to clear the Nizbels, so that fight's finished. He'll be taking on the Lavos Shell here shortly. As Kayaketsuki is finishing up the elevator run, we're going to see more dinosaurs summon through time on the lower left-hand side. We're going to be coming up on time fairly soon for Azure Kale. There it is. Oh, right as I said that. 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 1 second. So yeah, 2 hours, 10 minutes in a very nice play. GG Azure Kale for picking up that win. And we see Azure saying in chat, in hindsight, should have switched to drop crit Grand Hero Frog and did Strobo. Amen. Bring in the Super Frog. With that done, we turn our attention back. Akuhesh and Kayaketsuki are finishing their treks through the Ocean Palace. Akuhesh fighting the Lavos Shell. And we'll see that same cycle, but now instead of Magus, we have Luca, which means instead of Triple Kick, Uzi Punch, Dark Matter, we're going to see, I'm guessing, Blaze Kick, Uzi Punch? Or possibly Blaze Kick Heal Beam. Blaze Kick doing 3,000 damage, and Uzi Punch pulling another 1,500, so 4,500 damage around. That'll be a 4-round fight, assuming no healing is needed. Unfortunately, Luca does not have status protection, so no more Blaze Kick is available. But we see the power of kissing. Ayla applies a kiss. Kiss does heal somewhat, but also removes status effect. So, makes it probably the best single target heal in the game. Certainly the best mana efficient perspective, because it does healing and status removal, but comes at the cost of Ayla having a very low magic stat, so the heal is only for a couple hundred, as opposed to something like Marl and Aura, which for 1 MP is a full heal on just about every character in the game. And Akrash is able to take down the Lavo Shell. So stage 1 complete. Stage 2 coming up. Lord Batsy pointing out, the status heal is almost worth it by itself. The HP is just icing on the cookie. You're not wrong. Having free status removal is really nice. Or relatively free status removal. Particularly if you forgot to buy a dozen or so heals at the early part of the game. On the plus side, if you're new to the run, don't forget to pick up heals at the start of the game when you're doing your shopping. They cost 10 gold. Buy a dozen and be done. Spend 100 gold, get your heals, and don't remember that you don't have healing items once Lavos is applied, stop to 2 of your 3 party members. Kaiketsuki is taking on the Nizbels. We'll see what strategy is going to come through. It looks like it's going to be Dark Matters and Shocks, which will eventually result in lower defense, which would allow for Ayla to do Beast Tossed. Right now, she could be doing tail spins for a little bit of extra damage, or just tossing out heals. And Azurkale pointing out the standard shot list. 40 ethers, 30 mid-tonics, 2 revives, 2 shelters, 10 heals. Leaves you with enough cash to buy the snail stop item at 9,900 gold. That whole statement is the reason that I typically go snail stop first thing, unless I maybe do a desert check first. Because if the snail stop is useless, then I can buy like 12 shelters and never have to buy shelters again. But yes, if you want a standard shopping list when you're first learning the randomizer, that's a good list. Gives you a little bit of everything, enough to make it through the first couple of fights until you get some more gold and you're able to take the fight, take later fights and later shopping more easily. We do see the left arm going down thanks to a nice flare from Luca on Akaheshi's screen. And we have Hayuketsuki hitting lightning strikes on the Nizbels, trying to get the damage down. And now that they've done the lightning release, this should actually do real damage for 5,000 damage. Blaze Kick also doing nearly 5,000 damage against Lavos. So this is the reason a lot of people will say Magus in your party is nice, but given the choice, you're going to replace Magus with Luca every time. And oh no, Akuhesh only has 2 heals. But Akuhesh heals Ayla correctly, which means Ayla can now use Kiss to revive everyone else. And save that 1 remaining heal for Lavos Stage 3 in case he runs into the random status effects of 1000 AD. Alright, so now it's just a race of damage Can enough damage come out before the Shadow Doomblaze comes and deals significant damage? Although at this point, it looks like Akuhesh's team is strong enough. He could survive the first Shadow Doomblade regardless. Unfortunately, Luca is out of mana, so going to have to spend a turn getting some mana into her so she can follow up. And before that can happen, the fight ends. This is the reason you want to be able to do the menu skip, because otherwise you have to spend the first turn of the Lavos Phase 3 fight throwing restorative items onto everyone. But if you get the menu skip, you do all that before the fight actually starts. So kind of Lavos to sit there and let us do that. We do see the menu skip. There's plenty of mid-ethers and hyper-ethers, so I think from a mana perspective, Akuhesh is fine. We're going to get the heals off, maybe change out some equipment for status protection if it's needed and available, which it should be. Kai Katsuki taking on the Lava Shell using the same tactics as Azure Kale was, but Kai Katsuki has Haste Tail on Magus, and the shell fight's over. And we're seeing Akuhesh do some equipment chains out, Haste Helm onto Luca so she can throw more flares and mega bombs. We are seeing the triple kick Uzi punch to take out the left bit, which will allow Luca to cast flare with abandon as the fight against Phase 3 continues. And that's just going to result in a lot of damage. You see nearly 3,500 damage on the center bit. Unfortunately, that means 3 flares needed to take him out. Will we get 3 flares before the 1000 AD spell random status comes through? We will not. And the random status today results in poison on Luca. How kind! How kind of Lavos is this? No stops, no slows, no chaos, just pure poison. Meanwhile, Kai Katsuki is taking on Lavos Phase 2. Left arm's already down. Right arm is going to be following shortly. And on Akuhesh's screen, center bit's down before the invading light slow. That's nice. Oh no, this would have been Evil Star, which just Evil Star cuts your HP in half. Actually, probably the best attack to get from Lavos because it cannot kill you. And I kind of expect to see it be just a pure damage rush from this point forward. No focus on the left bit because the right bit should be close enough to death. Might see the left bit go down just to make sure you don't accidentally kill Luca with a flare counter. And there is GG for Akuhesh. 2 hours, 21 minutes, and a few seconds. A very nice run. Having to go through the slower go mode of Magus's Castle. And one last fight to finish up Kai Katsuki on Phase 2. Shadow Slay coming out, gonna poison someone. Flame Battle's going to come. That's going to do almost no damage. I think we'll just see a lot of damage being put out here and a quick run through phase 2. And there it goes. Phase 2 is down. Will Caillou also get the finals, the menu skip? Yeah, Lavos Phase 3 is the one stage of Lavos that does not have predictable attacks. The order in which he travels through the time zones is at least mostly random. I do feel like 1000 AD is always the starting point if you don't kill the left bit. And so maybe there's a bit of a pattern there, but it's not 100% consistent. Oh man, and with the knowledge, there are 2 scripts. Okay. But again, we are seeing left bit strats first. Use Uzi Punch and triple kick, take out the left bit. Allow Magus to throw Dark Matters with Abandon. Crying Heaven's Hidden Blow. One of the scarier attacks, just because it does a fair bit of damage. The real scary attack is if Lavos decides that he wants to slap you. He can just say, no, I feel slappy today. And instead of doing Thanos-like gauntlet snaps, he just comes up to your face, backhands you, and deals 700 damage. But with the left bit down, Magus is going to Dark Matter. Ayla and Robo doing triple kick Uzi Punch. And this is where you were seeing people saying, you know, this is where Frog would be better because you can't do Beast Tossed on those tiny little bits. But if you have Frog in your party, you can do Drop Kick, which is kind of like Beast Tossed in terms of damage, but it can be used on everything. But it's only really, really good if you have the Hero Metal and Grand Leon, which in this case, at least one runner did. And we just see Kai Katsuki's Lavos is nowhere near as kind. He's dropping Stop on Robo instead of a pitiful little poison. As the left bit is healed, and gonna have to go through another phase here real quick. But the damage that's available should come relatively quickly, I think. Notice that magic damage does heal the left bit, but if you lead with the magic attack, you can't heal him above maximum HP, at least not to the point where it matters. Oh, the center bit's down. So instead of going for another left bit kill, we went for a center bit kill, which means Magus can no longer use Dark Matter, but he can use Dark Bomb. Or if Kai Katsuki wanted to be really ballsy, could cast Anti-Life. And there goes the left bit. As Kai Katsuki finishes 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 6 seconds. A nice run by all 3 runners. GG to everyone, and GG to every runner who participated in the Week 10 ladder race. I want to say I saw there were like 12 entrants. This is the final week of the ladder races, which means it's the final week of the pre-recorded races being shown on Sundays. The finals for the ladder, which is the top 4 runners, from the season, which I'm sure someone will beat me to it, but I'm going to go pull up the names. It is Dipwood, Pseudo Arc, Chocosur, and Zelfer, I believe. Yep, Zerkel beat me to it. Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Those four will be racing live. Still not sure if that's going to be here or if that's going to be on Speed Gaming Live. We're not. We're still working to figure that out. But wherever it ends up being, be sure to tune in, watch that race live. You'll see some amazing race action. Again, that's Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Pacific, either here or on Speed Gaming Live, with the announcement of which one it's on to come soonish. If it's not here, expect that we may do like a host of that stream, so you may still be able to find it here if you want to look somewhere. But that will be it for tonight. Thank you everyone for coming by, watching the stream. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed the race. A big shout out to Akuhash Azura and Kaiketsuki for being our, well, guinea pigs isn't quite the right term, but I couldn't think of a better term. So being our guinea pigs for tonight, being the ones put on stream, coming in, talking about the races. Also, thanks to Azur for helping track tonight, and to Mian for helping run the restream tonight, actually doing all the hard work. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We will see everyone Thursday night, and until then, may all your runs be fast and all your games be fun. We'll see you then.